Yo, 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 what's up? This is Joe from Georgia University Girls in the Peach capital of the state, baby, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. All right, boys and girls, let me show you a little. So I got a mod, well, I actually got to make this throttle linkage. This here is the old rod with the heim joints on the end, right? These are the heim joints that's on the old throttle linkage, right? And it's just a piece of all thread, had two heim joints on both ends, lickety split, right? Well. The problem is, when this car had a small block 350 in it with an Edelbrock carburetor, the throttle blade or the mechanism for the Edelbrock was a little further back or closer to the firewall than this Blueprint engine, which has a Sniper 2 system on it, which the throttle blades is a little forward, all right? So I went down to Tractor Supply, and lo and behold, they had some 1024 all thread, right? So, and this is 1 foot. So I got 2 pieces and some other stuff just to be on the safe side. So what I did was I got up there and I measured it. I cut it and then I put it together. And when I go to give it throttle, the throttle blades are not opening all the way. All right. So I didn't have enough adjustment to shorten it because I cut it long on purpose, because you can always take off, but you can't add to it, all right? So I cut a little extra off, and also I picked up a box of 1024 part number 6286 nylon lock nuts. Now, the old one did not have lock nuts or nothing. They just screwed into there, and that's where they was at. I'm not doing it that way. So what I did is I took some nylon lock nuts, turned them on backwards, and run them upwards, right? Like that. And once I run them backwards with the nylon on this side, then I run the heim joint all the way up to it, and I seated it. Now this one I have roughly probably 1/2 inch of adjustment on this end. So what I did on this end was this part here, this right here bolts to the rod that's on the firewall for the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal. So this one's all the way bottomed out. Then I measured where I thought it needed to go with this one, and then I added a little bit, and then I pulled back. Come to find out, it's not opening the throttle blade all the way full throttle, right? So I made a measurement, I marked it with a black Sharpie, I marked it, I cut it off. You see me, I cut it off. Now, here's the thing about bolts and all thread. When you cut it, it's not round at the end no more, and it'll be hard for you to get something started, but that's real easy. All you gotta do is just take a sanding pad, put it on there like a pencil, right? I should have said this before I started. So once this thing starts, I'm gonna take this piece of round rod or all thread, I'm gonna stick it on there at an angle like this, and I'm gonna turn it to just round the edges like a pencil. See that? Now, since I've done that, you see that? It'll start a whole lot easier with a tapered end than a blunt end, right? So now, what's up, Mike? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on here, clamp this down in the vise, run this all the way up, then run the jam nut, and then we're gonna go over here and check it and see. And then once all this is done and everything's where it's supposed to be, on these little bolts right here that go through the throttle plate and through the pedal linkage, I'm gonna dab just a little bit of blue Loctite on there, cinch it down just for a little bit of assurance. All right. Just put that in there like so. Put that up there like that. And see that, just like that. It started. You want to make sure, what's up, Todd? You want to make sure that you clock the heim joints where they are the same. Then we're gonna run the jam nut. I'm gonna show you. Then you take the jam nut right there and you run the jam nut back up to the heim joint. And then when you cinch it down, we're not gonna do it right now, but once you cinch it down, that keeps it from rotating, all right? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. So there's the pedal rod, here's the blade, all right? So on that Elderbrock, this blade right here was actually right there. Heat shrink on the threaded rod looks professional. Well, this threaded rod was from Le Car. So this was in the car. This was the old threaded rod. That's actually a Le Car kit. So, yeah. So all I'm doing is just extending, just replacing it. So yeah, you're gonna have to explain that to everybody. So let me get this back in here. I'm gonna set y'all up. I'm gonna set y'all up right here. Try to anyway. guess I ain't gonna do shit. There we go, we do it like that. If I had a camera person like Mike did this morning when he was changing out that breather, that filter on that coil, that'd be all right. Yeah, that's a new one on me. That's a new one on me. That is a new one on me, for sure. So what we're doing is we're putting Oh, was that your dad that was doing that, Mike, this morning? I was watching you. I commented. I said, it looks like a Clorox jug to me. Yeah, I seen it. 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 I seen the butter churn too. So I got a old kerosene heater. It actually works, and I painted it. And I actually painted it and say, all right, let's check this pedal out. I have the pedal for it. He didn't have a pedal. He was riding around with his foot on this. All right, so here's the gas pedal. So let's go ahead and see if we got full throttle. So now, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we got full throttle now. Full throttle. Full Monty. Full Monty. Took me a long time to figure. I got some original Clorox bottles too. I got the small ones all the way up to the full gallon. If you're probably wondering what I'm looking for, I had that little bitty 10 millimeter, or I had that little bitty ass nut. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. We're gonna tighten this up, double check it, and then if it's good, then we're gonna back up off the nut a little bit. No, oh shit, I forgot all about that. No, I had a physical today. No, I don't give blood, man, that's a scam. Giving blood is a scam. I had a physical today. Had a 6-month checkup. Yeah. Yep. You donate it for free and they charge you an ass load to get it back. Yeah, make that make sense to me. I used to donate as much as I could. And I was actually in competition with a guy on, quart liters or gallons or whatever the hell you want to call it. And we was we was like neck and neck. He still gives. And then when Owen died in 2019, we got all that stuff going on with the medical stuff. And I overheard some people talking up there at the hospital on how much the blood, not my son, not him, but how much blood cost. And I was thinking, how much blood cost? And so I asked, what are y'all talking about? How much, what are you talking about, how much blood cost? And come to find out, that's when I found out that they charge people. They charge people. I was like, how's that even right? All right, boys and girls, we got that throttle linkage. Now we might have to, that's pretty tight right there. But that's how they had it. This is off the old engine. This is the kick down bracket, and this is where the old one went. That's pretty damn tight. So probably what I'll do is I'll probably take my file and sand this back a little bit to give it some clearance, but we got that in there. Please change those 2 baby bolts. What baby bolts? What are you talking about? You talking about these? You talking about these, Mike? Yeah, that came off of the old bracket. Yeah, I just got it all mocked up right now. Yeah, I'm gonna take it off. I don't even have the detent cable hooked up because to hook up the detent cable, somebody's got to hold it up here at the top while you feed it in, like I'm doing a damn catheter. And then when I hook it onto the lever in the transmission, somebody's got to pull tension on it so it don't come off the hook. And you can't, if you can do it by yourself, I don't know how to do it. Because you got to pull this while you do that. And down there at the bottom on the transmission, it's actually shaped like this right here. So, right, I'll show you. What's up, Tulu? So in the transmission, in the side of the transmission, you got the detent cable that comes out of the transmission, and it's a hook like that, and then the plunger's down in here. That cable, and then there's a 10mm bolt. So that cable comes down and has an eyelet on the end. That eyelet loops around that and just hangs on right there. And then when you slide this up into the cable, the housing, the sheath, there's a tab right there, and then the bolt goes through it like that, and it holds it. If you don't have somebody to pull tension on that cable, that hook will come off. It'll drop off. So let's get in here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Here, gas pedal just. So this right here this snaps onto the floor like that. And he actually bought this. So he bought this one, a new one. All right, let me show you. So this right here, so let me show you this. So this actually, so that's the way that goes in the floor. So let me show you. So this right here goes in the floor like that. So it came with a new bracket. That goes on the floor, right? And that's the pivot point. And then the other part, hey, there's 99 people in here. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, boys and girls. I'd greatly appreciate it. And then when you, so here's the old one. So we got a new one, and then when you push the pedal, that's good. Oh yeah, that good. Oh yeah, she full throttle, baby. Full throttle. Oh yeah, I'll change that. I'll change that. So yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh yeah. So check this out. Here's a little service announcement to anybody out there that's going to buy the mid-mount LS LT small block front drive system for small block, LS, or big block for your ride. Let me tell you something right now. See this bracket right here? See this right here? This is the hardline hose that goes on this power steering pump. You see that right there? It goes right there. This little ass hose right here goes right there in that little slot. See that little slot right there? It comes out that little bitty slot right there. There is no way for you to put that on after the fact. I did not know this because it wasn't very detailed in the instructions. So when I pulled the power steering pump hoses off of the rack and pinion, and I was like, well, what fitting do I need on this? So I got to looking in the instructions, and there was nothing there. It says, revert back to page 1. And I'm like, page 1? So I'm like, okay. So I go to page 1, ain't nothing in page 1. But what it was referring to, I appreciate that, Mike. What it was referring to is this. And I found this in this box, right? Power steering pump, power steering type 2 pressure line for tight end, mid-mount, LS and LT power steering type 2 press hard line part number 190-203. Right here, 1 bolt, 1 banjo bolt, 2 crush washers, 1 tube assembly, 1 instructions. This is the instructions. This is the instructions. Do y'all see that right there? Step 1, hand tight. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? It goes around the damn pump. Around the pump. So you have to pull the pulley off and you have to take the whole pump off to get this on that pump. And then the hose is on the back side. I did not know that. So I'm working on a 63 Impala. So it's a little dusty right now, but ain't nothing a little soap and water can't fix. So now I'm going to have to take the belt off. I'm going to have to pull the power steering pump pulley off, take the whole power steering pump off, put this on, put it all back together, and then what's going to happen is this hose is going to be right here on the back side, which is a good thing. This fitting is going to be right here, tucked behind it, which is absolutely amazing. It's awesome. But I wish I'd have known that before I got this far. So this, yeah, it's a little dusty. It's a little dirty. A little dirty right now, but ain't nothing a little bit of water can't fix. So this is the high pressure side. This is the return side. Right here is the rack and pinion that somebody else already put in here. So I've already took those hoses off. And right here they are. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just showing you. Here's the hoses. Here's the hoses that was already on here. This was the high pressure side, and that's that. And this was the return. This was what was on there. So I'm gonna take these to Viking hoses so they know what the ends are. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a clothes hanger or some aluminum rod, and I'm going to make me a jig out of aluminum or a coat hanger of where the hoses need to go, right? So this doesn't turn. So this hose is going to have to come up and come over and then slip over this and put clamps on it. This fitting here is going to have to come out and then turn and go down 90 and then go 90 again, or 45 or whatever they come up with. So this is what was on it. This was what was on it, and this was what hooked to the old engine. This is the return, and I don't need all that because we're going to this. So with that being said, yeah, so I've made a list. Where the hell's my list at? Right here. Here's my list. So I got power steering pump hoses, AC, heater hoses, new battery ends, new wiper switch, hood hinges, paint under the deck lid and the hood, dry shaft, it's right there. Dry shaft is right there. Bleed the brakes, wrap the panel. We got material yesterday. I got to check the pressure switch for the air ride. It's not cutting off like it's supposed to. Got to make an appointment to get the exhaust. Once I get it out of the shop, we're going to flush the radiator, wire up the deck lid lights, check the tag light, run the wire for the gas gauge, put torque converter bolts in, fill transmission up with transmission fluid, TV cable, and oh yeah, AC hoses and charge AC. And then also, put new carpet in. Yep. Yes, we run antifreeze, but I'll show you what I use. Now, after there's, you can run just regular antifreeze. Probably run just regular GM, whatever blueprint says to run. Y'all remember the other day when I filled up the engine with water and it burped and the water come back rusty, dirty. It's been documented at Blueprint, and they said that's normal, but they got it documented on their end. If anything happens, they'll replace the engine because the engine's got a 50,000 mile warranty on it. So with that being said, we use antifreeze, but stuff that you want to be like really, really, really nice, Mike, and you have to check and make sure there's no leaks. You can use this stuff right here, high performance waterless engine coolant. So this right here, Superior, boils at 375, protects the -40, eliminates hot spots, fights corrosion, and lowers pressure. This stuff right here is the cat's meow. Now, I don't know if he wants to put that in this. Probably just put regular GM approved antifreeze in it after it's all said and done, after I get it out there on the runway and do a engine flush, and just flush it out. Just crank up the engine, let it get up to operating temperature, open up the valve, let the valve run, put the part on the top and just fill it up with water and just constantly flush out the engine to get all that rusty water sediment out of it. But they said it was normal. Oh yeah, I also run the transmission lines, the cooling lines. I got those done. And there's something else. Yeah, we moving right along. We moving right along. What's up, TJ? Moving right along. I'm also thinking about, so let me ask you this. Do you guys think I ought to put a kill switch? Do y'all think I ought to put a kill switch on the fuel pump side? What temperature is that? It says it's good to 375 degrees. Yeah, the boiling point's 375, Mike. I mean, hell, if that sun gun's 375, you already done some serious damage. Serious damage. So let me ask y'all a question. What's up? What's up, Chrissy? So let me ask you a question. Yeah. So let me ask y'all a question. Should I put a kill switch in between the fuel pump? And the reason why I'm asking this, so if he stops and parks this thing or whatever, and well, security. What's up, 84? Security. So here's my thoughts. So if somebody was to get in the car and they hot wired the car, they could hot wire it and they could drive it, right? Because it's got an electric fuel pump on it. Because when you give power to the switch, the fuel pump comes on. So I was thinking maybe if I took and just broke the circuit for the 12-volt key source for the fuel pump and put it on a toggle switch rated at 40 amps, and just hit it in somewhere where it's easy to get to. Then when he turns the car off, like park it overnight or whatever, he can flip that switch off. And then if somebody got in the car's all aired out, it's on the ground, and they go to try to hotwire it, it's just going to spin over. Just it's not going to do anything. It's not going to pump fuel. So that's my question. What do y'all think? I'm going to ask Tim, see what he thinks. But we got the throttle linkage hooked up. Man, there's 126 people in here, man. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because we're on our way to 10,000 boys and girls. Yeah, I mean, it's just an idea. Like right now, the fuel pump's unhooked, right? So the fuel pump's unhooked right now. Well, the power's turned off for the fuel pump, right? So if you was to get in the car, to try to crank it, like right now, right? If you was getting the car right now and try to crank it, well, the battery's dead. I pulled a Tulu. I pulled a Tulu. I pulled a Tulu. Let me see. Maybe I didn't have the terminals on. Yeah, I pulled a Tulu. Get the jump box. Anyways, nevertheless, it would just spin over. Why not just put a whole distribution alarm and switched in? I could do that too. I could do that. Hey, Mike, why does everybody got a shield beside their name? What in the world? All right, so with that being said, yeah, so they didn't have a power steering pump puller at AutoZone. They said there'd be one there today at 5:30. They said they'd call me. I get that snatched off. There's the dry shaft. We're going to put it in. I actually found the boot. I actually found the old boot for the old shifter. I don't know if I can make it work, though. Here's the old boot. I could probably make this work. Oh, interesting. Okay. So here's the ring that we made the other week. Y'all remember that? We made this on the burn table. So I could take this and I could, cut the threads back so I got enough to tuck underneath it. And then we can use this. This is the old ring, and this is the boot. All right. And the way the boot works, I looked on LaCar's website. The way the boot works, let me do this. The way the boot works is you fold it underneath the lip like that, right? Once you fold it underneath the lip like that, then you run the screws down through the boot and everything, and that's what squeezes it down. Well, being that this one's smaller than this one, we'll have to come down just a little bit further, and the boot's going to be shorter. You don't need a lot of boot anyway. You don't need a lot of boot. I don't need a couple dollars. So, but we're just going to have to take and split the seam right there like SpongeBob did. Look, I ripped my pants. And then get it up there where it needs to be, pull it underneath itself, and then run. They got self-tapping screws. Just run the self-tapping screws down in there to pull the flange down to hold it, and then we'll have the boot. And then I got the material for this, so we got to take that back out, and we're going to wrap that, and then we got the new interior. So it's got the new interior, so probably what we're going to do is we're pretty much done with everything that needs to be done. I got to hook up the heater hoses and check for leaks. I'd rather it leak in the floor with no new carpet, then put the new carpet, and then the new carpet get wet, and then it mold and stink and smell like old Foot Locker. So that's that. But we're in good shape, boys and girls. We're in good shape. What's up, Long Wrench? So that's where we at on that, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. And then, like I said, we got like 20 things to do that I can remember. We're gonna have to check the tag light, and I'm gonna have to, not me stupid, I'm gonna have to pull the air ride. I'm gonna have to unbolt it and pull it back and check the 200 psi shutoff switch. The 200 psi shutoff switch, the other day when I was running the compressors, they run and run and run and run, and I was like, okay. I wish you had a gauge on the tank so I could see how much air is in it pressure-wise, and it doesn't have one. But it just ran and ran and ran and ran. I was like, man, that thing should be filled up by now, and it never cut off. So I don't know if the 200 psi pressure switch is bad, or I'm gonna have to unbolt it and pull it out and then check it and go from there. So that's that on that part. Let me give you a little update. I was gonna do a separate video, and I probably will, but let me give you something. So my power probe went out, right? My power probe, if you don't know what a power probe is, I'll show you. So a power probe is what I use to test circuits, activate circuits, all that stuff, right? So this is a power probe, right? So the other day I was messing with it, and I went to check ground, and that little light right there didn't come on. It's supposed to come on green. I was like, well, I know I got a good ground. So I went to the battery and touched the battery to see if I had a good ground. So if you got voltage, the red light will come on and say, got voltage. And then if you push up, you can send power to a circuit to make something come on just for a split second. Like if I want to activate a fan, I can bump it, see if the fan comes on or whatever. If I want to send a ground, y'all seen me do that before when I was activating the fans on this car on the ground side, because the ground side don't take a lot of voltage and amps. So you click it down and that activates this as a ground. Well, when I went to check voltage, it had voltage. And then when I went to check ground, it came up 0.6798 and the light wasn't coming on. And I was like, okay, what the hell's wrong with it? So like Mike just said, there's a fuse. There he is. There's a fuse right here, a little bitty fuse. I checked the fuse. It wasn't blown, but I didn't know if it was compromised, so I put a new fuse in it. Done the same thing. It done the exact same thing. Underneath this cover right here, there is a circuit breaker. So I pulled it out. I checked it out. It wasn't bad. It worked. I checked it with another voltmeter. The ohms and all that stuff was good on that. It wasn't broke or nothing. I put it back in there. Then I go to the owner's manual and to see if I need to do a hard reset. So I go do a hard reset. I do a reset, whatever. I come back, it's still the same problem. All right? What's up, Mac? Still the same problem. You go to touch ground, even though it was a ground, it was telling you had voltage, and the green light wasn't coming on. So I was like, okay, cool. So I called Power Probe, which they're located in Charlotte, and I give them the VIN. I told them what was going on, and they said, that's interesting, give us the VIN number. So I give them the VIN number, the serial number. And they's like, did you just buy this unit? And I said, no. I said, I actually got this unit. I got this one when it came out. I got the whole kit. I got the whole Power Probe kit when this came out. The tech person that I was speaking to on the phone, super nice person, absolutely awesome. They said, well, we did a recall on those when they first come out because the processor inside of them would go bad and it would read weird voltage, just like you're saying. I said, okay, cool. So I give them the VIN, I give them the serial number, and then they came back and said, well, unfortunately, it's not warranty no more, and the recall is closed. I said, okay, cool. They said, you can send it in and we can do a repair on it, and it's going to be a few $100s. And I was like, well, might as well just buy a new unit. And then they said, well, hold on a second, come back. So we got to talking a little bit, and then we came back. They came back on the phone. We got to talking. We were just chewing the fat. Come to find out that the person I was talking to on the phone, their brother had the same birthday as I do. And it just one thing led to another. I said, well, I'm not mad. They kept apologizing, said sorry for the inconvenience, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, I understand that you're reading off a cue card, right? And you're doing your job. I'm not mad. I promise you, I'm not mad. I mean, I'm the most cool, laid-back person you'll ever meet until you do something that's unfathomable, and then it's all hell. There's no rules. There's really no rules. So they said, well, let me see what I can do. So just a few minutes later, they said, let me call you back. So they called me back and said, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do. We got talking about social media. We got talking about the sponsor wall. We got talking about all this other stuff. Well, why they hung up on me or told me they'd call me back, or put me on hold, they went and found me on YouTube and Facebook, and they said some things, blah, blah, blah. They said, man, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. This is what we're going to do. We are going to make it good on our end, even though that you've had this past the warranty date. We're going to make it good, and we're going to take care of it. Just take the unit. We're going to send you a return label. You'll have to pay the shipping to get it to us. So we'll give you the address where you got to go. Just mail the unit to us, and then we will take care of everything else. And if you don't mind, would you give us a good review on your YouTube channel and your Facebook page, and just do a video just on the Power Probe when you get it? And I said, absolutely. 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 I said, I sure will. But I also told him, what's up, Chance? I also told him, I said, I'm not looking for nothing for free. I'll pay for it, because I bought this when it first come out, like in 2000, whenever this came out, 2014 or 2015. So it's 10 years old. So I don't expect them to honor the recall or the warranty, because they only have a 2-year warranty on them. And the person on the phone told me that they spoke to their supervisor, and even though it's the serial number that falls in the category of the recall, that they would make it right. And they do not know how in the world it lasted as long as it did, but they would make it right. And I said, well, I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, Mac, absolutely. So they asked me to do a video, and I will do a video all by itself, but I just wanted to let y'all know. And I didn't even know they were based out of Charlotte, which is here in North Carolina. So I have their whole kit, which is the Power Probe kit. This is the Power Probe micro torch. I have that and this, and I use this daily. No, actually it doesn't. Weston, it actually doesn't. It happens all the time if you treat people with courtesy, kindness, and with respect. Because I told the person on the phone, because they kept saying they were reading off a cue card all the time. Cue card was reading all the time. Sorry for the inconvenience, I said, look, you can stop reading that card. You can stop reading it. I know you're reading off a cue card, and I know it's your job. I'm not mad. And the person said, well, I really appreciate you understanding, because most people that call in here, they don't understand, and they don't get it. So let me give you a scenario. This is what I told them. I said, if I'd have called and you said, hey, we had let's change the whole scenario. I called, the technician said, hey, look, that thing was under recall, but the recall is closed. The recall was closed 8 years ago. So your only option that you have is mail it in for a repair. We fix it. You pay for the repair. Or 2, just buy a new unit. Now, if they would have told me that, which they did, they absolutely did tell me that. Now, here's where it lays on my feet. If I would have cussed them out and said, man, this is BS, this thing's like $300-400, this is ridiculous. If it had a recall on it, you should honor the recall. It doesn't matter if it's 8 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. You should honor the recall. I'm the first owner. I'm the original purchaser. And just cuss that person slam out and made that person feel like crap. Guess what? At the end of the day, my power probe still don't work. I just proved to that person I'm an asshole. 100% asshole. Now I've ruined their day because it was early in the morning. So their whole day is going to be ruined because I just cussed them out belligerently over a tool that broke. And stuff breaks all the time. Stuff breaks all the time. All the time. People make mistakes. It's life. People make mistakes at the Wendy's when you get your food. People make mistakes when you get your stuff. People make mistakes when you order stuff. You make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And if people would get out of their own way and out of their own little bubble and think, oh, I'm the only person in the world, and there's 7.8 billion people in the world, and come to terms that you're not the only person, I promise you, and treat people with a little bit of respect and a little bit of dignity and a little bit of courtesy and be a genuine person and say, hey, look, man, I understand stuff breaks. You know, I'll do whatever I need to do. I can't afford to buy one right now. I'll just have to do something different. But if you cuss somebody out, you just ruined all grace that they thought they was going to share with you. Even if they could, they're not going to help you now because of the way you treated them. People may forget your name. People may forget your name, but they will not forget how you made them feel. Absolutely will not forget how you made them feel. They will forget your name, but they won't forget how they made you feel. If you make somebody feel like shit, 30 years from now, they see you somewhere, they say, oh yeah, I remember that guy, but I can't remember his name. He treated me like shit. They're going to remember that. Yeah, you're right, Mac. They're doing the exact same thing that we're doing. We're trying to provide for our family. We're trying to put food on the table. We're trying to pay our bills. Everybody's going through the exact same thing. Some people's got it worse than others. Some people's got it better than others. But you treat people with a little bit of kindness and look. Now, I'm not saying let people walk over top of you. No. Let me pump the brakes on that. If you come at me sideways, talking out the side of your neck, being all cheeky, I will let you slide for just a little bit. I will give you enough rope. I will give you enough rope. I will give you enough rope to keep writing checks. I will keep letting your mouth write checks that your ass can't cash. And then I'm going to say, hey, man, enough's enough. And if you keep doing what you're doing, I'm fixing to slap the shit out of you. Open hand, no baby powder. I'm going to slap the shit right out of you. I'm going to smack the taste right out your mouth. You ain't going to be able to taste nothing for the next 30 days because I'm going to slap the taste right out your mouth. And then I'm going to say, you asked for it, and I'm going to walk away. But you have to push me like really far to get to that point. Really far. really far. If you want to get there super fast, if you want to skip go and go ahead and collect $200, say something about my boys. Say something about my kids. I will snatch your soul right out of the body. And when the Grim Reaper comes, I'll hand it to him and say, here, dog, I've already done your job. How far, Mike? How far? How far? About this far. About this far. I'll let you get about this far. I'll let you get about that far, and then I'll come all the way up here and just smack the damn taste buds right out your mouth. I won't even do you like Rick James. I won't even do you like Rick James. And if you're new to the channel and you don't know who Rick James is, Rick James put that baby powder. So when he smacked you, it didn't leave no marks and it didn't sting. I won't even give you the courtesy to give you baby powder. So, boys and girls, we have made another 60-minute live, boys and girls. We have stretched this thing on out to another 60 minutes. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll read your eulogy in shackles. Yeah. Hey, look. Hey, this is a PSA announcement. Hey, look. If you ain't into lowriders, don't make lowrider videos. Look. If you want to borrow something, just borrow it. If you want to borrow an idea, borrow the idea, but at least give somebody some credit. At least somebody give somebody credit. And look, the janitor didn't come by last night and take the trash out. Look, this is like my 5th box. This is like my 5th box. There's 22 in the box. So I've eaten like over 100 packs of grits. So for the last 100 days, I've eaten grits. Come on, man. Find something that's yours. Find something that's original. Find something that's original. Fire something that's original. And I say thanks. When everybody comments on my post, I say thanks. So everybody, I say thanks because I say thanks for commenting. Now, sometimes I might say something a little bit, but 99% of the time, I reply to everybody's comments to thanks. Hey, somebody take care of that right there. Hey, security. Bam! Ha ha! Got your Uber. Your Uber just picked you up, big dog. How about that? So, this afternoon, boys and girls, we're probably going to go live again. And we're going to go ahead and start putting these side plates on. Y'all remember we have to do these in 2 pieces because I couldn't cut it in one piece, so we're gonna have to put this up here like that. So we're gonna go ahead and start bracing this up. Also, got all this took care of. This is took care of. That's done. Yeah, look, there's 22 packs in a box. I take 3 packs every morning and eat 3 packs every morning. So I take an original, a butter, and a cheddar and put them all together. And then the next day I go original, butter, and country bacon. And then the next day I switch it up. See that right there? You got, look here, Mike. Look here, you got 6, 7, 5, and 4. So you take 3 packs of grits to a cup of water, a boiling water, pour it in the bowl, stir it up, let it set for about 10 minutes, and it's good to go. And then I'm eating oatmeal too. So if you want to use that too, I'm eating oatmeal too. I'm eating grits and oatmeal. So just to let you know, if you want to borrow that. Yeah, so. Yeah, stop using AI. Stop using AI to talk. Stop using AI to talk. Stay 100 packs. Good God. You gave up caffeine for a new addiction. So, also I talked to remember I told y'all I talked to a company. I talked to a company about the upper and lower control arms. So I'm gonna send y'all, if anybody's got G-bodies and y'all interested, I found this other company. I think they're out there close to Mike. They out there in Missouri or Montana or Iowa. They're somewhere in the Midwest, right? They're out there in the Midwest, and they build front suspension and rear suspension for G-bodies. And I watched a video of the guy last night, and he made, and I don't know why I never noticed it, but he made absolutely 100%. So check this out. The ball joint on a G, he says the G body has the worst front suspension ever made. He says because when you go into a curve, your casting camber actually changes and you're actually riding on the outside edge of the wheel, which that's not what you want to do. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that's made aftermarket stuff like QA1, Alden America, and stuff like that. He said, but a lot of them has not really actually changed the ball joint placement because they just haven't. So this company here, I'll share their location in one of my posts. So what they've done is they have designed a whole new spindle. The spindle is actually taller. Yeah. They actually designed a spindle, their own spindle. The spindle is actually higher. It's actually a taller spindle. Their A-arms are level all the way out. So the ball joint is actually right here instead of down here. He says when a G-body suspension articulates all the way up and full kilt, the ball joint is still lower than where it needs to be to have the right geometry. Then he says guys are putting big wheels, anything over 15 inch. Big wheels, 16s, 17s, 18s, 19s, 20s, 22s, 24s, 26s, 28s, and 30s. He's like, and they're just killing the geometry, even worse because of where everything's at. Now, QA1 does make a big wheel kit, but it's only available for like 24-inch wheels or 28-inch wheels. That actually puts the geometry back in the same place where the geometry is back in the same place it would be, better than factory, so you got a lot of casting camber. Now, I know Alden American's front A-arms adjust a little different because 87SS put them on that square body he has, and they adjust them. These, the ones that this guy has designed, I've been talking to him about, could I run his upper control arms? Also, he's talking about I asked him, don't get too sidetracked. He said that you can run his A-arms and there's no more shims. There's no more shims. So you bolt the dog bone directly to the upper, right? You bolt it. There's no more shims. Your adjustments is in the chromoly tubing. So it's chromoly tubing that comes out to the ball joint, which is a big boy ball joint. They have designed and made their own spindles that are 4 inches taller, which can still run the GM brakes and all that stuff. You can run big rotors, little rotors, whatever you want to run. You can still run if you want to run 13-inch wheels or 22-inch wheels or whatever. But the A-arms are adjustable here and here, right? So you can adjust your casting camber, and there's no more. So there's no more that way. Also, he says they have their kit that's available that you can run coilovers in the front. And what you do is you cut all this out, and then they have a bracket that drops in there, and then you weld that bracket in there, and you can run coilovers. He said also, people are taking coilovers, and I can testify to this on that 68 Le Mans. They are putting coilovers in here and bolting them to the bottom of this A-arm, and where that shock is bolted at to the A-arm cannot handle the pressure on there, and it breaks and bends and folds out. Because the pressure is supposed to be held in by the spring cup. And when you put coilovers and you're putting all that pressure, on them two bolts right there, right, it's pushing through and it's breaking. So they have designed a whole new lower A-arm that you can run springs like this factory, and they're beefier, they're heavier duty, and they're chromoly tubing, and they are adjustable, right? So they got that as well, so you can adjust whatever you want to adjust, right? So I was asking him, and the A-arms are +1, so they're wider this way and they're wider this way, right? So it changes your casting camber. So I was asking him, I told him that I was running hydraulics on this car, on this commission build that we're doing on this 84 Cutlass. I was asking him, I'm not, you're running these A-arms because you see, look at them. They just bad, right? They're just bad. So they're just bad. So if I'm going to have to buy a new set of A-arms and modify the new A-arms, like cut them and add an inch and then plate them, and then it's still, the geometry is still going to be wrong because the ball joint's here and not up here where it's supposed to, so the ride's not going to be right. I asked him, I said, can I run your A-arms on the front of this car with hydraulics? And he says, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really know. Let me check and see. So I told him what guys are doing to these upper and lower control A-arms. They're plating them, they're cutting them, they're adding an inch here, they're adding an inch. So his A-arms are already +1, so they're already wider. And then they're taking and cutting these out and putting those big ball cups in there, and then they're running grade 8 military bolts through there, and then they're running caprice spindles and drilling out the hole and putting a chromoly tubing spacer to bring this up level, and then running a chromoly tube spacer with a grade number 10 military grade bolt all the way through it, and drilling out the spindles on the G-bodies and on the caprices, and doing the same thing on the bottom. And he's like, okay, so I sent him some pictures. He's like, oh, I see exactly what they're doing. They're doing what I've already done on my A-arms. He's brought his ball joint up here to level, and you're pushing the A-arm up here. I said, yeah. So if I can run tubular A-arms on the front of this, which would probably be a game changer, because I told him I'm not hopping, it's lay and play and stuff like that. I said, just let me know, because we hadn't got this far. But when I tear the whole front suspension off, then we'll have to figure out when we get there. But nevertheless, I thought I'd share that with you, boys and girls. You picked the fine time to leave me loose, Seal. Are you going to run chains or springs? I got springs. Chains? What the hell are you talking about, chains? I got the springs right here. I got the springs. Here's the springs. There's the springs for the front. Yeah, I'm running chains in the back, but I've never seen nobody have chains on the front. Elko, I have no idea what you're talking about, big dog. I have yet to see anybody with chains on the front. I've yet to see anybody with chains on. I'm not hopping this thing, though. I'm not hopping it. Everything that I've seen, no limit build, I don't see any chains on the front. Absolutely zero. Oh, you talking about from doing? Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Mike. Oh no, I'm not doing none of that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, Yeah, overlock. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it comes to that, yeah, I don't know. 5/16 cable. Okay. Yeah, I'll do some more research on that, because I'm still I'm still undecided on what I'm gonna do, because I'm definitely not running them A-arms. They're junk. So if I buy new A-arms, if I buy stock GM A-arms, and then I'm gonna cut them up to do the plating and the extension and all that stuff, and the big dogs and all. And this company, they build drag racing stuff, they build rock crawler stuff, And he's like, man, I just need to know. I don't know if my stuff will work, but it's chromolytic tubing, which is DOM. And Mike told y'all the other day what that was. And DOM tubing is strong as hell. So I don't see why it wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? I don't see why it wouldn't work. You know, it's crazy. You know what else is crazy? It's crazy, all this stuff that you guys are telling me that happens with hydraulics. I never had that stuff happen with my little Toyota truck. Never. Never had it. Never blowed a cylinder, never burn up a solenoid, never burn up a pump, never broke an A-arm, never broke a ball joint, none of that stuff. None of it. Man, I'd pop three-wheel all the time, man. Never had that issue, ever. So, I don't know. I guess, I don't, and I drove that truck daily, every single day. I drove that truck daily. It was my daily driver. Man, I'd be going down the road running 75, 80 mile an hour and dump the cylinders and just lay that sun going pancake and just, and then hit the buttons and boom, it popped back up and go. Right through the center of the spring contains spring. Oh, okay. Hold on. All right. So hold on a second. All right. Look here. Also, I'm running these. Also running these in the front too. So, also running these. So this plate here goes up underneath that. So this plate here goes up underneath that. And then this goes at the bottom like that. And this goes up underneath this perch. This welds up in there like that. And then the cylinder like that. And then the cylinder, I have to drill a hole right there and run a piece of chromolytic tubing so the cylinder goes up through. So that will be, yeah, that will be like that. If that makes sense. And then, I told you wrong. And this goes like this. That goes like that. And then this goes in there like this. Like that. So it goes like that. Yep. And they told me I had to cut these springs. They said you just have to cut them. So you got the spring in that lower pocket. Then this goes into that. And then this welds to the bottom of the car. And then that keeps the cylinder. That keeps the cylinder from blowing up through like that. That's what JoJo told me. Yeah, JoJo told me it goes like that. So, if I was told wrong, JoJo from SoCal, he told me that. So, I appreciate every single one of you. I've been on here for 80 minutes almost. 79 people. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I will probably be back around, I don't know, 5:30. 5:30. I got a little off topic. I was trying to just keep the shop business on cars and stuff during the shop. But watching you change plugs before. So I appreciate every single one of you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And hey, look. If you're going to copy somebody, at least give them credit. But you know what? Don't give them credit. Don't give me credit. Just keep my name out your mouth. Just keep my name out your mouth. Remember that cease and desist order? Just remember what I said. Cease and desist. Remember what I said, boys and girls? Remember what I said, don't worry about the road up, don't worry about the man up the road or down the road. Don't worry about the man up the road, down the road. Sweep off your own front porch while sweeping off anybody else's. Put God first at loose end drag. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out.